back. Episode number 6. Let's get this intro. Once again, thank you, Digital Press. What's happening? Episode number 6, After Dark. What's happening, people? It's your boy Raider Rich. Coming at you today, a little solo dolo. Today, sorry for missing last week. Life happens, things happen. So, but this week I'm back. I apologize for not making it. All right, let's get into this. Free agency just happened, and this free agency period we got a lot of the nation just in an uproar. They're kind of mad about the Jimmy G signing. They're mad they didn't get enough defensive help, which I can understand. I can understand that some of it is mind-boggling. I can understand that. So I'm going to go over the Jimmy G signing first, right? This is my thoughts. Okay, the Jimmy G signing itself, right? Getting Jimmy G. Do I think Jimmy G is a world beater? No, I don't. I don't think he's a world beater, but I also understand that he gives you flexibility. He gives you flexibility to be able to draft a guy and develop him, or maybe wait till the next year and get a guy. So it gives you flexibility, and it gives you an experienced quarterback who can start and perform well for you, and you can bring in the next guy either this year or next year. Let him sit, let him learn, help him develop, and kind of like the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Work on his footwork, work on his techniques. I mean, there's some quarterbacks like I honestly think like Anthony Richardson. That dude there, he's gonna have to sit for a year, maybe 2. Also, I think C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, they're day one starters. But if you have the flexibility to sit a guy for the first 8 weeks or 10 weeks, dude, and just digest the system and get acclimated to what's going on, I think that could benefit a young quarterback. So once again, getting Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not the sexy move. It's not what everybody thought. This wasn't the big move on from Derek Carr. This is to set yourself up to have flexibility, so when you can, get a quarterback, he's not rushed to start. And don't underestimate. Don't get me wrong that I do believe that. What's up, Milka Breezy was cracking. Hold on. I got my brother here. Mr. Robinson, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Rich?
Oh, just kicking off the show, doing the thizzle. Were you at the garage? In the officina? In the officina?
Yep.
What's up, Dubs?
I'm sitting here looking at how this tape of how Jimmy Garoppolo chokes in the final minutes of Super Bowl 54. So, having been faced with reality, I've been trying to go back and see what exactly it is that we are getting. What are his strengths? What are some of the weaknesses? Is what I saw really an accurate representation of the totality of his game?
Right. Okay. I was just going over with the people here. I don't think he's a world beater. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a middle of the road quarterback. Let's call him what he is. He's paid like a middle of the road quarterback. And he just brings flexibility for us to be able to, get a younger guy and either have him sit, or if he's ready, let him start. But there's no rush for a guy to just come out and start right away. We're not starting the guy we drafted in the second round and and push him to be the starter. You know what I mean?
Well, so that statement in itself can be interpreted in a bunch of different ways and taken in a bunch of different directions.
Right.
So we'll start with the top layer, if you will.
Right.
Jimmy is a capable quarterback. He looks like
middle of the road. Tell the truth. He's a middle of the road quarterback.
A carbon copy of the guy that we had before,
right?
with the added benefit of having full field reads versus half field,
right?
Or better execution of full field reads and full field progressions, not necessarily eliminating options pre-snap.
Right.
Especially when misdiagnosing the defense.
Right.
And that was always one of the main issues that I had, was that if you disguise your coverage,
Honey Badger,
he said he'll take you. He's going to take you straight to the ball. There are some guys that do that. Some guys that are successful in looking defenders off. And unless it was designed for him to look off and then come back, he was never doing that.
Right.
And he'd go to option 1, option 2, take off and head straight out of bounds or chuck it out or go for kill.
Do that whole little arm extension right at the end, like, bro, you fumble too much to do that.
But with Jimmy. Now, to be completely honest, the thing that terrifies me about watching Jimmy is the lame ducks that he just puts out there at random times. I mean, that motherfucker, it looks like a duck just falling out of the sky after it's been shot.
Right.
And it's not, and it's at times where his mechanics aren't what should have failed him for a throw that poor.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying? Like he hit the steps, he back foot planted, squared up, let it go, and somebody just yelled pull.
Right. Okay, it's that Peyton Manning style lame duck. You mean that late Peyton Manning, like But Peyton was still throwing touchdown ducks though. I mean, they look ugly, but they got there. You know what I mean?
And well, some of them look like that 3 flags up bullshit that was it the Titans, or I think it was the Rams, where he just decided he was going to spin around in a circle, close his eyes, and then throw it in the middle of the field about 15 yards down there where 8 guys were.
Right. Okay, let me ask you a question, since you've been watching film on him, and I haven't watched any film on Jimmy Garoppolo. How is he outside the numbers throwing the ball? Because I've complained about comeback routes. I've complained about things outside the numbers not being thrown. So does he throw well short to intermediate outside the numbers? Because that was something that was really missing in the Raiders game last year.
So to be honest, totally transparent, not even gonna lie, I just started watching. I've watched the highlights and I have yet to go back and watch every throw. Now once I do that, I'd be able to have a much better representation of what it is that you've asked me. So far, the short answer to that would probably be somewhere around what you should be worried about is how far outside the numbers is he throwing it. Right. If it's 20 yards or less, it's not a problem. Could you get a little bit more? Yes, but where he makes up for it is anticipatory throwing and quicker decision making. If
Right.
it's there, if the look is there, the ball will be there on time. You
Okay.
don't have to have a bunch of crazy arm strength if you throw it where he's gonna be before he makes his break. Because once he turns and the ball is there, the defender still got to stop before he can come forward,
Right.
and it'll already be too late. So when he stops, you'll have the ball, an opportunity to make a move. A lot of minute details, and this is what people will tell you that you're splitting hairs for. But in a game of inches, this is the difference between a short yardage completion and a big play. Is
Right.
ball placement and and throw timing.
Right.
If I have to watch you make the break, now not only have I watched you make the break, but so has the DB.
Right. And the
And so
linebacker and the
and so
safety.
right. And so if they both watched you make the break, and I know and DBs are pretty smart. If I'd get to and what everybody else has been doing is get to about 7 yards and sit. Just stand there, don't move.
Right. Covered.
Yeah.
Ish. Covered ish. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm gathering, right, because he throws with anticipation, right, and he makes quick decisions. I'm gonna lie, I cheated. I did look him up. He's a lot better in the red zone than our previous quarterback. He makes crisper throws. His on target throwing in the red zone is a lot better, and he doesn't turn the ball over in the red zone. So I've been looking at that. I've yet to watch the throws and stuff like that. I'm just going over like some numbers and stuff, and just it's not bad in the red zone. He's making good decisions by his numbers. I mean, let's be honest. As a Raider fan, I my biggest problem with the previous guy was the fact that it was bad decisions in the red zone.
I'll
Not
say
taking care of the
I'll
ball
say
in the
one
red
thing
zone.
I'll say one thing accurately about that, Rich, and without even trying to tell you how I would trust the two of our red zone decision makings more than I would trust the previous guys. And
Mm,
in being able to spot the deficiency, the weak points in the defense, and expect in terms of anticipating what the defense is planning to use against you and how to beat it.
right.
And more importantly, where the fact that your 6'6" tight end is in the red, this is what he's built for, and somehow we managed not be able to get him the football.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Um, I'm gonna switch it up real quick. Illuminor tweeted out him and Colton Miller are gonna be the best. What was the left side in the NFL?
Best tandem.
Oh, best tandem in the NFL. Okay. Interesting. So he's already been told he's the starter pretty much, or he feels that he's just going to win the job. You think Mumford has a chance this year to usurp him for that job, or is he going to hang on to it?
Illuminor, say what you want. If you take away the penalties, Illuminor had borderline a Pro Bowl year.
I agree.
Illuminor had a really good year and blocked a lot of quality defensive ends
Yes.
when people couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Right.
Now, is he the greatest run blocker? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's more than serviceable. They had no problems opening lanes for and at least working it down to where Jacobs can make the proper reads and zone runs. So he's handling his assignments and making it happen. I mean, with that, is that far off? No, he really had a good year last year.
Yes, sir.
Like no bullshit. That's been one of my at this stage in the game. You know me, I don't argue with people too much anymore because honestly, there's really no point.
Right.
But one thing that I haven't stood for is for people to continue to berate this offensive line for going out there and having an incredible amount of success and give them absolutely no credit for it at all.
Right. Oh, no, I agree. I mean, because all I've heard all year is that the offensive line is trash, they're garbage, they don't give enough time, Derek Carr's under duress. You know, when the offensive line is giving him above average time to get rid of the ball. I mean,
he's not getting enough time. They're not forming up against the blitz. They're not opening enough holes. They're just not that good. They keep swapping guys in and out. They don't know who their line is. Like, what the fuck does it matter? I'm like, you simple-minded fools are looking at this all wrong. Your offensive line is being coached up to be interchangeable in order to maximize the amount of success that you have on any given play.
Right.
I was like, now, is it conventional? No. But is it effective? Well, if you were executing the play on the far side of it, yes, it would be, because it's not the line, it's not the blocking that hasn't been holding up.
Right. Okay.
Now, they did their jobs. The play call was there, and somehow the play didn't get finished. Now, if we're all good, if the play call was good, the blocking was excellent, the play was there, and it didn't get made. Now, somewhere at the end of that process, you're gonna have to do the math. That comes down to one or two people.
Right. Oh shit! What's up, Twan?
But it's a systems quarterback's offense,
right?
And that gets looked at negatively. But if you have a guy who excels at the system or excels in systems, this is the offense for him.
Right.
So because at that point you're as long as you make the proper reads, everything becomes instant offense. Said you're watching one guy, you walked up, you looked at this, you've identified everything, you've looked at that, you've identified what they've got to what their potential options are based off of the positioning of the slot defender, seeing where this outside linebacker is lining up. Is he cheating up to the line? Is he playing it true? Is he backing off? What's he doing? Okay, now your safeties are what? One's at the hash, one's down low. Okay, so is he coming? No, he looks like he's coming out to the flat. So that means one of these guys on the edge is coming. And then if one of these guys on the edge is coming, then we know that this tight end is going to be open on this seam route he's about to run right off the bat. Now, we've done all of this. I made it longer than it was, but you can look at that, and in about 1 to 2 seconds at the line of scrimmage, you can process all that information just that fast.
Right. Well, we've seen the NFL do it. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks do it. Hold on. I got somebody backstage.
Hey,
what's happening?
Hey, what's good, fam? What's good, fam? I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw my two brothers on. I had to pull up. How y'all doing?
Hey, man, you already know, bro. You always welcome here.
Hey, for sure, man. Appreciate you, man. I ain't got my cam up because I'm in the middle of doing something, but I can hear and talk. So go ahead and talk that good football stuff, man.
Nah, man, we just having a discussion about the offensive line and about how we both feel that the offensive line did a really good job this year, especially with the personnel. Like you hear from a lot of people that they kept changing the offensive line. Both me and Robinson are talking about how we understand that this offensive line, they can switch personnel. They can mix and match. I mean, those are good things. When Cole Miller went out, they didn't miss a beat. You know what I mean? Illuminor went to left and Mumford went right. You know what I mean? It was all good. Everybody was ready. I mean, I think Carmen Brasillo is doing an excellent job with the offensive line. The offensive line is they're multiple. They're very good at pass blocking. They just had, and they also just had the number one running back. Were they perfect? No. Could they do better? Yes. But you got to give them some credit, and they weren't trash. I know you're rolling up. You see the link in there.
Okay. Yeah. I'm optimistic about the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? I think they will. You know what I'm saying? This is the. It seems like they bringing the same cast back. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? This would be their second year in the offense. The only thing that I kind of have a concern about is, you know what I'm saying, and I've been saying it just kind of jokingly, but kind of being serious at the same time is, you know what I'm saying, we can't have Illuminor getting a flag every game. You know what I'm saying, and he needs to clean that up. You know what I'm saying, in his discipline when it comes to the offensive line. The other thing that I didn't necessarily care for, and maybe it's just me, I didn't care for, you know what I'm saying, the whole, you know what I'm saying, bag of Skittles, you know what I'm saying, plug in, plug out, you know what I'm saying, early in the season. I felt like if they did their due diligence during the off season, you know what I'm saying, during mini camps and whatever else, training camp, we should have knew who the starting five was, you know what I'm saying, the main core, the main core guys, you know what I'm saying, and rolled with that earlier than what we saw, not trotting out, you know what I'm saying, seven, maybe eight guys and saying those were our starters. But that's just my personal preference. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but those were my observations of this line. But I'm optimistic that this offensive line is actually going to even get better, just because, you know what I'm saying, consistency of, them knowing each other, and they've already done this, before. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes this year.
So, if I may, so the reality of the situation is this: is that we watch this football team religiously, faithfully, all that stuff. We love this football team. The coaches that have come in have only a tape to go off of, with a vague idea of what was supposed to happen versus what actually happened.
Okay.
Without a copy of the playbook, which players may or may not have after the coach leaves or has an unceremonious exit. They have no idea what the play was, what the assignment was. You can ask them later and they can tell you, but until you put them out there with your scheme and see how they respond, you don't know what you have, because you could be asking them to do something different than what the other guy was asking them to do. Now, it was more or less a way of treating the first part of the season like preseason, because all NFL teams, for the most part, do something that I absolutely can't stand, which is sit the starters the entire preseason. These guys and everybody says, oh, we do this so that we get guys to the start of the season, we have them healthy and da 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 da. And okay, let's say you do let's say that's all good and all that other shit. You get to the beginning of the year and the first 4 weeks of football are absolute garbage.
True.
There's a correlation there. Football is supposed to be practiced. It's like medicine. You're not an expert at medicine. You practice medicine.
Yeah,
I feel it too, but at the same token, we also have to understand too that look at the strides Mumford took. You know what I mean? Like, from game experience. You mean?
He's a rookie.
You know what I mean? He needed that game experience. So I'm kind of happy they did it. Like Robinson said earlier, was it conventional? No. But did it work? It worked, bro. It worked well.
It did.
Because when Miller was out, come on, man, they didn't miss a beat. And at this point, dude, the person I have the least problem with this coaching staff is Carmen Bracillo. Yeah. Carmen Bracillo did a great job. with that offensive line, because I don't think the offensive line is all that talented individually, but they came together, they blocked well, they did their job, bro. They got the number one rusher in the NFL, and they're not great run blockers, but they did their thing. You mean they need
Kennedy Palomalu. That's who you got to tip your cap to. Kennedy Palomalu, the running backs coach.
Too. Yes,
but as for this offensive line was better at run blocking than pass protection. But to what Twan was saying earlier. The guys you had penciled in to start ended up off the team mid-season, and those were guys that looked promising the year before, which is why they were starting. Came into the system. I thought that Lester Cotton still was pretty decent. Was he bet? But he started getting outplayed by Parham almost immediately. John Simpson proved to be a liability early. And
but we thought we had a starter in John Simpson and Cotton, right? Mm-hmm. And let's face it, Lester Cotton is a preseason warrior, bro. He always shines in the preseason, right?
Yeah,
does all the right things in practice. He's great. He's a great preseason fucking guard. He just come game time, regular season, he's just not it. He's not it. It's okay. He's a depth piece at best. You mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And then for all the we need to move on from Andre James. A lot of people need to go back and watch those 3 games that he was out and watch how good the offensive line was playing. When he came back, there was a noticeable difference.
Yeah. My biggest problem with Andre James is he doesn't do it often, but sometimes in key moments he fires off and doesn't block a fucking thing. Just
spatial, yeah, that one too. But spatial awareness is my largest issue with Andre James. Is that there'll be times where it's just like, bro, how did you not see that? Like, how did you not pick that up? That somebody was hitting the A gap right next to you.
Right. Cracky K.
Yeah.
You muted, or we can't hear you.
I think he's muted.
No, he's not muted. He muted himself.
Yeah.
What up?
What up?
What's up with it?
What's good?
Nice hat, bro.
Thank you. Who's in here?
Says the name's on the screen.
It doesn't say it's for some reason on my screen, it doesn't say any names.
That's Twan.
Hey, what's good? What's good? How you doing?
What's up, man?
He's in the middle of
something
man.
How are you?
That's why the camera's not on. But he can hear you just fine.
He getting them shoes clean. I heard that shit.
Yeah, trying to take it a little bit.
I don't know why it's not showing me the names.
All right, because I know you've already checked it, right? What's your thoughts on because I actually know what your thoughts are, but I just want to hear, so we just put them out there. What's your thoughts on the whole offensive line situation and Illuminor tweeting out that they're about to be one of the best tandems in the NFL? Cade,
that question's for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the offensive line's fine. I think that they were fine last year. They're not elite, but they're good for their price range. Yeah, I think that this year they should stick with the same. I think that this year they could stick with the same group. To be honest, I think that I would be cool if they got rid of Alex Bars and replaced him with another guard, maybe. But I think they could also eventually do without Andre James. I know a lot of people thought that Andre James wasn't going to fit the center position very well in the NFL, but I thought he looked pretty freaking good, if you ask me. I mean, there was a lot of things he could work on and stuff like that. Of course, he's a rookie, he's learning, but I thought when they moved him over to center, he did pretty damn good. I thought Illuminor was good at tackle last year. His penalties got on my nerves. But I think if you look at the overall, just the way he played tackle, it was pretty good. I think Thayer Mumford is going to be a good right tackle in the NFL too. I think that sitting another year or working in another year with Illuminor like they did last year might be a good thing for him. The offensive line is really not my biggest concern. A lot of people are talking about the offensive line. We could go without adding another piece to offense for the rest of the offseason, and I could care less. Just go get me a decent tight end, whatever, bro. Call it a day. Like I'm worried about the defense.
Okay, we got a question. How we feeling about losing Perryman?
Did he sign somewhere?
I don't know.
I don't think he signed somewhere, but we probably will lose him. I'm a fan of Perryman, but it's not like he's irreplaceable. He's a damn good run stopper. He actually wasn't too bad in pass coverage last year either, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had 2 or 3 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
What's his asking price? What is he asking for?
I don't know, probably about 6.5. 6.
6.5. That ain't too bad.
I think that's why they brought in that Spillane guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say.
Yeah.
I think, and I hate to say it like this, and I'm not, and I don't know too much on the Spillane guy completely, but I think it's kind of like an apples for apples. I think Perryman was on his way out. You know what I'm saying? Because we got the Spillane guy. You know what I'm saying? I think the Spillane guy is actually going to be, you know what I'm saying, the guy that's going to take that role over. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of our defense. So, am I going to miss Perryman? Do I like Perryman? Yes, I do. But, if we can get younger, you know what I'm saying, at the linebacker position and still be able to fill that gap, I'm with it.
They have a lot to do at that linebacker position, man.
A lot to do at that linebacker.
Agreed.
Let me ask you a question, because to me it feels like they filled the spot with the same guy, just cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but to me, it's not the same guy, man. Like, I watch Perryman play and I've watched Spillane play, and I'm like, Perryman just seems like the much better football player. But that could just be me because I'm biased. But I've liked Perryman since the Chargers got him out of college. I was just always a fan of him.
Miami.
Yeah, like I was just always a fan of Denzel Perryman. I love coverage linebackers, and that's what the league's coming to.
Right.
Denzel seems to have gotten a lot better in the coverage aspect of football, and he hits the lanes great, man. Like he will come downhill and stick you right in the lane. I loved watching Denzel Perryman play football, but who knows, man? I mean, I'm trying to keep my hopes up. I was very, very – I was very depressed the first few days of the offseason. But if you look at these other teams and if you really break it down and you look at these other teams and how they were built and how the Raiders, what they've done in the previous off seasons and all the bad contracts they had, and then, their goal is to probably rebuild most of this thing through the draft. And that seems to be the route that they're going towards. So it's exciting and frustrating all at once because I know we have a good team and we can be winners now. And that might still be the case, but
we all understand that to build through the draft is the actual right way to do it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like first couple of days
of course,
everybody's mad that we didn't sign, Hargraves. I mean, we didn't make these big splashes like like John Gruden used to do. John Gruden used to sign somebody big.
You act as if you raised your kids to where you can ask that.
Al Davis too.
Yeah. Every year, and this is the actual right way to do it. This is how it should be done. We should be drafting these guys, developing these guys, and how many we got? What, 2 third rounders right now, right?
Right.
I expect to see one starter out of it. One starter.
I mean, for me, it was more so I didn't care if we got the Hargraves or the top players in free agency. For me, it was like this free agent class is deep in the linebacker position. Guys are getting really good deals, not overpaid for a lot of good linebackers. I think Eric Kendricks got like 2 years, $13 million. George Tranquil got 1 year, $5 million. TJ Edwards got 3 years, 18 or 19 and a half. You had I think Levante David got 7 or 7.5. You had whatever, bro. The list goes on. And to me, it's like you guys have before Spillane and whoever else they signed, it was like you guys have Divine Diablo and Masterson, I believe, under contract at the linebacker position. I wish they would have went out.
Right?
Yeah, I just wish they would have went out and got. But there's still more linebackers in free agency that they can get that still would be good additions to this team. So, it's not over yet, but there was just some moves that I wanted them to make that they didn't quite make.
You can make as much money as
definitely understand that. $10,000 a month. Truly, Tony Bang.
What's good, Tom? What's
going on? What's going on? I got my nephew right here. He's being nosy.
Young King?
What's up, Tone?
What up,
rocking,
nephew?
fellas? I was doing some drills, getting my boys ready. They're playing the champs of their league on Saturday, so we have some drills to run. Sorry I'm late.
Nice. Hell yeah.
All right. We're gonna jump to the big elephant in the room. Darren Waller being traded for a 3rd round draft pick after Green Bay offered a 2nd round draft pick for him. My thought on that is everybody knew that he was gone. Nobody was going to give up a 2nd rounder for him at this point.
And kudos to the front office, man, because they're very consistent with how they do business as far as getting rid of guys just before they're not who they're not as what was advertised. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand that. My biggest problem is that Darren Waller is a matchup nightmare. He's a matchup nightmare in the middle of the field. The Raiders. But my biggest problem with the personnel we had was Devontae Adams does well in the middle of the field. Hunter Renfrow does well in the middle of the field. Darren Waller does well in the middle of the field. How many people are you gonna have running around in the middle of the field?
Yeah.
3, maybe 4.
And
then 3, maybe 4 sounds a little congested to me.
Well, if you space it right, it'll create a window, and if you really want to get super technical, go back and watch. Andy Reid does a lot of it in Kansas City, and what it does is it puts stress on the deep cover guy, and it'll either create a vacuum for the backs up for the guy coming right behind them where he can catch the ball and take it straight up the field, or you'll go to the inside guy and because they're running basically the same route, slants, posts, in deep ends, intermediate ends, and so it forces zone cover guys to make a decision on who they're going to take, and then you make the proper read off of that. But I'm watching the way that Shanahan deployed him. And like I said, eventually I'm going to go back and rewatch the Raiders offensive tape so that I can be completely and thoroughly disgusted all over again. loads and loads of missed opportunities. But
Right.
to see from what I seen, the biggest difference is that you can watch the full field progressions, and it's systematic. You just go boom, 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 ball's gone.
Right.
Said it's one, and if he is holding on to the ball, it's because there's either a double move or he's waiting for a guy to clear. But he's faithful to the backside post, backside slant. It could be covered and he's throwing it. And it will get completed, and he's throwing it directly over I want to say almost directly over the hash mark. But he's throwing it with anticipation into a spot, so it doesn't matter. But the timing is such as that it doesn't matter if you know it's coming, because it's just a well thrown ball at the right time in the right spot.
Okay. And an anticipation pass. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we saw Moreau get leak open. He just didn't convert a lot of those plays for whatever. But as far as getting those guys, getting the tight end open, I don't really foresee a problem for the McDaniels offense to do that. And I don't know about you guys, but I do notice that tight ends of that caliber, as far as athletic is concerned, that can run, the more athletic types, those are becoming more common. Those will become more common than they used to. So I don't think it would be too much of a problem even finding an athletic tight end, down the line.
What the largest problem is not necessarily the athletic tight end, but the athletic tight end that blocks as well as Gronk and Hernandez used to block. These guys, one, for starters, your blocking tight ends don't block that well, and let alone guys who are going out for passes aren't blocking like that. Now, the last guy that I've seen that would probably be close to fitting that mold is probably Kittle. It's probably Kittle, and from time to time you'll see I don't even want to say Kelsey, because he don't block, but
he don't block for shit.
He don't block for shit. But I'm trying to think of maybe I'll say maybe Hawkinson.
Yeah, but I think
with Rockets says.
Well, the best blocking tight end. I was just actually looking that up right now. The best rated blocking tight end in the NFL is Njoku.
And he's always trying to get out of Cleveland, right?
No, he just signed a brand new deal. He getting cashed out.
I ran into him at Super Bowl and I didn't recognize who he was, so I straight up walked up to him. I was like, "Bro, you look really familiar, but what's your name?" He's like, "David Njoku, Cleveland Browns." I'm like, "Oh, yes, sir." He was like 6'7", bro. I was looking up at his ass. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, he's a big boy, bro. That shit was crazy. That was the biggest dude I ran into the whole week. I'll go straight up. I was like, "Oh, okay, nice to meet you, Mr. Njoku." Shit.
I think also I think that's what we're running into, especially with the line, the tight end room. You know what I'm saying? In college, you know what I'm saying? These college coaches, they help, but they hurt at the same time. And I'll say it like this: they help. You know what I'm saying? The player, if they know that the player is just a good catching tight end, that's all that person does. You know what I'm saying? And they make them look real good at that, but I don't think they really help develop that, you know what I'm saying, that blocking aspect that we need, you know what I'm saying, to get them to the second level. You know what I'm saying? But I think with the Waller situation, I don't know the drama or whatever else is that's attached to it. But it's kind of one of those situations that, you know, like my brother said, they can draft another athletic tight end, you know what I'm saying, in a deep tight end class that's coming out, you know what I'm saying, this year. So for them to get a third, do I like it? No, not necessarily, but if they feel like they can get cheaper there, you know what I'm saying, and still kind of get somewhat of the production, or even get maybe someone that even though Waller is a good tight end, we also know his availability was sketched too. So that might also play a factor into the results that we're seeing.
But let's hit on that real quick though. When your tight end is too hurt to play fucking football, right? But shooting music videos, come on, man. Your front office is not supposed to be like this guy is really here for us. That's not how it works, bro. You know what I mean?
I have a couple things on that Darren Waller thing. So it's like the first thing is like it sucks because it feels like the Raiders are always in a position where the previous year they could have got double what they just got for him. You know, last year Green Bay was offering more. It's just like it kind of sucks when you look at it like that. But then the other thing is it's like, you know, what was the real situation with Darren in Las Vegas, or we'll just say it, in Las Vegas, because when Carr got benched, that looked like old ass Darren Waller to me, wide open. He gave you a little toe tap in the end zone. He looked happy as hell to be back in the Raider uniform.
Doing dances.
But 2 years, but you got to look at it like this too, man. Like 2 years, 2 years he's missed 41. I did the math. I did the math the other day, and I actually think I saw it on Twitter too. He's missed like 41 or 42% of all the games in the last 2 years, and you're paying him. You know, he's hitting $11 million on your cap, and you need money to go fill holes. And you know, it's just kind of one of those things where if he's been injured and he's on the wrong side of 30, so they kind of just made a move that they had to make, and it kind of sucks. I feel like they did him dirty because I'm like, damn, I know it's a business, I get it, but it's like, damn, my boy just got married to the love of his life in Vegas, who he met in Vegas and plays for the Aces, and they still live in Vegas, and they shipped his ass across the world. So I was like, damn, that shit sent his ass on a whole honeymoon by himself. But
right.
But I think for me, as far as tight ends goes, we're not an offense that runs our offense through a tight end like
anymore.
Yeah, like Kelsey and Reed, for instance, the Chiefs.
Right.
And you can put a bunch of receivers. We have a good receiver in Devontae Adams, and our offense in the passing game is going to run around him and Renfro and Myers. All we need in a tight end, we don't even need the most athletic tight end. We need a tight end who can go up and score touchdowns in the red zone, be a guy that we can rely on in the red zone. I don't need my tight end to get me 130 yards, man. I don't. Give me 2 touchdowns a game if I need it. Or you know what I'm saying? Like I need to
Well, you need the first downs. You need
like
those,
you don't need a 100-yard tight end. You just need a guy that can go
the chains moving,
big plays.
Keep the chains moving, and keep the chains moving, and
I don't need him to take off for 60 yards down the field or anything crazy like that, man.
Right.
And let's be honest, those guys are starting to come around, but I can't even think of one tight end in the league that is such a one-on-one mismatch like Darren Waller is when he's fully healthy. Now, Kelsey it's hard to say with the one-on-one thing because of the way they run their offense. It's not really traditional football. They have this dude doing all sorts of shit, but I'm talking just one-on-one linebacker or safety on Darren Waller. 9 times out of 10, he's open.
Or he's healthy. Or even a corner.
Yeah, even a corner. But I'm just saying, like, in general. So it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck remembering what we had in him. You know, he was almost a damn near 1,300-yard receiving tight end 2 years ago. So that's a bummer. But I think that the Raiders don't even need to go get a tight end in the 2nd or 3rd round. They could go get a tight end. They can go get a big body tight end in the 4th round, man, and call it a day if they really wanted to, man. I think that you just need a guy that can big body fools in the red zone and first downs.
You just get a nice power forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You get a nice power forward, with some speed, and you're fine because those explosive plays, even to the tight end, are between 3 and 5 a game, maybe. I mean, if we get 3, that's that's a good thing. Um, so what we can say from this move is to expect Tay's numbers to go up, Renfro's numbers to go up, even and receiving out of the backfield, those things to start. That production starts to go up. What team you talking about, sis? Because this right here, this is a fashion thing. I wore some of my red. I wear my sixes, my hair sixes. So that's why I got this Bulls hat on. Don't get it twisted. It's Golden State over here, and the Yankees in the Ravens. So anybody got a problem with that? So
Man, I already cooked his ass for being a Yankee fan, bro.
Stop playing. Let's go get the tape. Run the tape.
All right, bro.
Run the tape. Y'all the richest team. Y'all the richest team that got nothing out of the bankroll. Just a couple of trophies out of that whole bankroll. Y'all try to spin like the Yankees, but you don't get the same. You don't
all
the
the players are coming to us these days, bro. When it comes down to Dodgers and
no, they're coming to LA.
Breaking news. With the Dodgers, I'm like, I don't know what to say, bro.
Hey, all I gotta say is
the escorts are better in LA.
Who won in 2020? That's all I gotta say. We won one recently.
Facts.
Hey, that's cute.
Facts.
That's cute.
100% facts.
Hey,
that's cute. Hey,
it's cute and sexy.
Let's go to the trophy case. Let's go to the trophy case. Let's go to the case.
Hey, we got a big trophy case though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real quick though, I wasn't a fan of At first, I wasn't a fan of the Jacoby Myers thing though, because
that was where I was going next.
I know
$5 million.
That was on my mind with this Darren Waller thing, because wide receiver is that one position that feels just like running back. You can find them they grow in soil. You can find yourself a 700, 800-yard guy and not have to pay him for 4 years. And Jacoby Myers, when I looked at the contract, I'm like, all right, it's really not that bad. It's not the worst thing. He's not a bad football player. It still bugs me in a way, but I kind of see what they're trying to do. They're going to go out and get a rookie tight end more than likely, or they might sign a veteran tight end. I don't know. They might do both. But you go and watch New England's playbook, or a lot of plays that they ran, even dating back to when Brady was there. New England's favorite thing to do was run a double slot.
Attack the seams, right?
It was a double slot, and sometimes they'd play on the sometimes they'd play on the same side, sometimes they'd play on opposite sides. But it was Amendola and Julian Edelman, and they killed shit, man. And I think they're not trying to exactly replicate that, but in the same sense they are.
They're trying to like win games with the system, not with the player. You know what I mean? Not depend on the player, what the player can do. X, Y, and Z. They're dependent on the system to let the player cook.
I think we need to keep this clear too. I think McDaniels is on the hot seat. So I think he saw the failures of Mac Hollins not knowing his routes and not lining up properly, and that being a part of, being a trouble in the offense. So for him to go out there and say, look, I need to get someone that knows this playbook where I ain't got to worry about that because my job is on the line. I think that's another reason why Jacoby Myers was one of the guys that was quickly, snatched from free agency, just for the familiarity of knowing the offense. Because again, I feel like McDaniels is on the hot seat.
Can't blame somebody for that then. If you want results now, let me get my guys for real.
He's gonna jump off that hot seat though. Because as soon as if they draft a first round quarterback,
There
I
is
think
no
it's
hot.
gonna buy him. I think it's gonna buy him another year or two.
2 years.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna buy him 2 years. But I'm gonna say this though: is Jacoby Myers an upgrade over Matt Collins?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think
Jacoby
he is an
Myers
upgrade over.
Jacoby missed a couple games last year, and he was only about 200 yards off 1,000 yards.
So he's an upgrade to Matt Collins.
I say it's an upgrade because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I was tired of, you know what I'm saying, and I'll say this, and some people might jump down my throat about it, but I was tired of seeing DC pointing at Matt Collins, trying to direct him to tell him where to line up, and everybody could see that on the field. You know what I'm saying? And it was obvious that he wasn't. I guess his mental wasn't there, or you know what I'm saying. I know that this book is very complex, and even the greatest wide receiver in the game right now said that. You know what I'm saying. Devontae Adams said that this playbook ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying. So I understand that aspect of it, but if he knows what he's doing, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying. And I think really outside of the physical tangibles that Matt Collins has, like, I think that's the only upside that he had over Jacoby Myers. You know what I'm saying? Just because he's like 6'5",
this isn't just a whole thing with Josh McDaniels though either, man. Like, I think people are looking at this the whole wrong way too, because this is another thing that people need to start realizing too, is that you could sit here and blame this all on Josh McDaniels or Dave Ziegler or whoever the hell you want. The matter of the fact is, when you move in a historical franchise out of their home city of Oakland and you move it to a city like Las Vegas, you know, that's a winning move. And now you're not producing, you're staying the same franchise you've been for years. And that's why you can't draw that's why that's why the Raiders get outclassed every time they have a mainstream team come to their house. You know, the Chiefs or the Niners or any of those top tier teams, man, you start seeing all the other teams different colors more than you see black. And I wasn't used to that shit, and I'm sure you guys weren't either when we were in Oakland, bro. That shit would not fly. But you went to a city where everyone's expecting changes, and the owner himself it didn't work out the last couple of years. That 2020 season, bro, I don't care what anyone says. That wasn't no playoff year, bro. That was them playing off emotions, bro. That team was not a playoff team.
Nah, they were a playoff team. They were playing they weren't playing up to their potential a lot of times. We saw that potential pull up where everybody just pull each other up by their own bootstraps and say, we're gonna do our jobs and do what needs to be done. And that's why you saw the defense, go all out them the last 4 games and that running game, it won in spite of. But you were saying about I lost my train of thought. But
the whole thing.
Oh, the whole yeah.
Let's be honest though, this team backed into the fucking playoffs. They backed into the fucking playoffs, right? They barely made the fucking playoffs. It's not like they were a dominant team all season. I mean, because in that same season, right, we lost to the Redskins for no fucking reason. We lost to the fucking Bears.
Oh, we know why. We know why.
I mean, yeah, we all know why. But what I'm saying is they shouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
but you also don't get to go. So here's my thing on it. It's a bad look on not only Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, but Mark Davis himself, because you don't get to go out and have a playoff team, right? If you're going to count them as a playoff team the year before, and then go get the best wide receiver or one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and add some of the pieces you did to this team and fail the way that you did. That was disgusting last year. And you could blame that on Derek. You could blame that on whoever you want to. But at the end of the day, that's who they decided that was the best option to go into that season as the quarterback, to give him a chance to play ball. We had already seen what he was like for 8 years, man. So somebody in that building in the Raiders organization thought it was a smart idea to see year 9 of it. Get him Devontae.
Well,
He's going to change.
No, he wasn't.
We had 6 wins.
No, he wasn't. We and everybody out because we had our schedule release. I told everybody, well, everybody told me that Derek has never had a receiver like him. I said, and y'all clown me for it too. I said, we're not losing a fucking game all year, right? Because all I keep hearing is that Derek's only had trash receivers, right? This is not trash.
Cooper wasn't trash.
He wasn't. But, I mean, when you deal with certain people, everybody's trash. You know what I mean? You know, just to protect one guy. And, dude, look, I don't want to make this all about him, right? But let's be honest. People want to keep continuing saying that Josh McDaniels is doing the same shit he did in Las Vegas as he did in Denver. I didn't remember him giving Jay Cutler an extension and a raise. I didn't remember him getting the best receiver in football for Jay Cutler. I didn't remember him doing all those things. Did I miss that shit?
Well, that's because that man was so high on Tim Tebow for one. But or was it Tebow?
No, Tebow. He didn't draft Tebow until the next year.
Okay, you're right.
Okay. But hey, before we shit on Tim Tebow, let's face it. He beat the Steelers in the playoffs, did he not?
He did.
You mean? And this wasn't today's Steelers. That was one of the badass Steeler crews, right? Where that defense was popping off on you, right? He beat them, right? Did he or did he not?
Is that Palomalu?
Yeah, that's
Palomalu.
Well, I think the reason Josh McDaniels is getting the hate that he's getting too isn't just because his name's Josh McDaniels. Josh already didn't have the best reputation coming here. I mean, let's be honest. His Denver days, no matter what you want to say about it, they didn't go the greatest, okay? But he was a young guy. Maybe he had more to learn. They also didn't just give him the coaching position. He was the GM there too. And every coach that's left New England for the most part, outside of Vrabel maybe.
He was in the Texas before he was with
No, but I know that. But I'm just saying.
I don't
let's
think
say
he was
most
the actual coach there. I don't think
most
he was the actual coach
coaches that have left Bill's side to go get their own organization have not done the best.
there. Bill O'Brien did okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying most. That's why I said most.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all. I'm just saying most. But that's why that hire gets so much hate. And on top of that, he left a really bad taste in everyone's mouth when he backed out of the whole Colts game. And I think that had to do with Andrew Luck retiring, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like, I think that's what it was. I'd have to look to check my facts on that, but I think that's why he decided not to take that job. But that left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths too. So the guy already doesn't have the best reputation, I feel like, as far as fans go.
Right.
But, you know, he was around winners for years. And he's probably the coach that sat next to Bill Belichick the longest and got to learn the most shit.
Right.
So I'm not doubting him after year one, but I'll say this. If we go another year without making the playoffs, being this year, like, shit might hit the fan, bro. This is not going to be okay with the fans. It's not going to be okay with players. I mean, you already see players getting frustrated, man. Like in the middle of last season, you know, the Jacobs and Crosbys, not that they wanted to leave our team, but, you know, it's frustrating to watch.
Devontae Adams wearing his helmet.
Yeah, so, I mean, you see players getting frustrated and shit. And I just don't think that a lot of them are going to be cool with having another losing season. It's just inexcusable.
It is very inexcusable. Can I ask you a question, though? Say they don't win, like, 10 games. Say they win 9 games. Does that help him?
Did they make the playoffs?
No, but just they win 9 games. You mean like does that help his cause? Does that make it where the system is starting to activate and stuff like that? Does that prolong his career?
Without being an asshole and trying to be like a downer in this situation, I'm going to go with no. And the reason I'm going to go with no is because you've had 20-something years of not making the playoffs or winning playoff games. What's up, brother? Here's my biggest thing too. And this goes deeper than just this goes deeper, you know. When you okay, how do I put this? When you're a fan of a team and you want to go watch your football team play, and you go online to buy a ticket, and you're the most expensive NFL team to go watch play in the league, but you don't put out, you put out one of the top or worst 10 football teams in the NFL. At some point, the fans got to fucking matter, bro. There's a lot of fans that have put a lot of money and time and faith into this organization, and they continue to fuck their fans, and, you know, and almost as if they don't give a shit. You know, you don't get to be that shitty of a football team and charge $390 to sit at the top of Allegiant Stadium. That shit just don't work that way.
All right, we got a question from the comments. Y'all can quickly read this and give your answer.
Where we start? Who gonna start with?
Question for the panel: on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most, how confident are you in McDaniels is the right guy? I'm gonna kick it off. All right, and I'm gonna tell the truth.
Of course.
Am I completely sold on Josh McDaniels? No, I'm not. Do I believe that he's bringing the right elements? Let's face it, dude. The Raiders have been a scholarship franchise. You know what I mean? Guys who've gotten picked, and they weren't that good, or they were mediocre at best. And they get to stick around. They get to, play for a long time, and a scholarship team, right? This is not Ohio State. This is not USC. This is not Alabama. This is not LSU. Okay, this is a production league. Okay, Josh McDaniels is weeding out a lot of the problems, and there's a lot of players who are used to the way John Gruden ran the fucking franchise. Okay, it became a scholarship program again. Do I like Josh McDaniels? Because you can say Dave Ziegler makes a lot of the personnel decisions, but I do believe Josh McDaniels is right there next to him in every situation, right? I don't like everything they're doing. I hate Josh McDaniels' fucking clock management. He's fucking sucks. Okay, but I'm gonna give it a 7.
I have to agree with you on the clock management. That shit is horrible.
I'm gonna give it a 7 until he. But if they go all offense in the draft, I'm gonna be fucking heated. I'm gonna be mad. You know what I'm saying? They need to get some defensive ball workers. They need to get defensive tackles. They need linebackers. They need a lot of shit. And I'm even including them trading up for a fucking good player at quarterback. They still need to be drafting linebackers, defensive tackles. They need depth and they need starters. So and if they don't win this year and he has another poor season, I don't expect him back. I truly don't. And he gets to go back to fucking Bill and be his fucking offensive coordinator if he can, because Bill O'Brien's there. So he'll probably end up at Alabama. So that's how I feel about it. What's your thoughts?
I'll go since I'm right next to you, man. I give it a 4, and I'm not saying that ironically or what I'm saying because of Derek Carr. I call it a 4, just for one of the reasons that my brother said is as a head coach, your main job on a Sunday is to manage the clock. You know what I'm saying? Your job is to handle, you know what I'm saying, clock management. You know what I'm saying? And his organizational skills obviously is lacking for the fact that he's trying to be a head coach on top of running the offense. You know what I'm saying? And I I understand that he has Mick Lombardi, but Mick Lombardi's not doing enough. You know what I'm saying? And I said this on other people's lives, is I think McDaniels would be a better coach if he would delegate, you know what I'm saying, those duties properly. You know what I'm saying? Of course he can call the plays on Sunday, but he needs to be, you know what I'm saying, as a head coach, your job is to float around those rooms and make sure that everybody else is on top of their job. He should have been, especially this year, as a head coach, he should have been in that defensive room trying to figure out what the hell was going on with our defense. You know what I'm saying? And why we end up being the bottom of the barrel, you know what I'm saying, in rankings when it came to our defense. But he didn't have time to do that because he was so busy trying to handle our offense. So if he could learn how to delegate and put people in place, you know what I'm saying, to do that and actually be a head coach, maybe the time management will come into place. But at this point, for me, I give him a 4.
Yeah, I agree. I'd probably go a 6. I think a lot of things I called out last year is a lot of what you guys were just saying. I told everyone his time management is just dog shit. But I don't know. I was never sold on Josh McDaniels from the day we hired him, to be honest. Then the season came, and I like a lot of what he does on offense if he has the right players to get it done, specifically at the quarterback position. But I don't know, man. I want to see him this year with Jimmy and how, you know, his guys like Jacoby and stuff like that, a couple different changes he made on offense specifically. You know, I want to see what they do in the draft. That's going to tell me a lot because we have a lot of holes on defense. But, you know, I think my favorite coaching hire last year, man, was one, it was the guy the Giants had, Brian Dabble. That fool's way better than Josh McDaniels, in my opinion. Completely turned the Giants around, and he's going to continue to do so. But the other one is just signed with the Texans. I think DeMeco Ryans is going to be a phenomenal head coach, and I think he's going to – players play for that guy. And I think you're going to see some improvements with the Texans just based on him being there, their presence. So, but Josh is the guy that's here with the Raiders now, and that's the guy I'm going to support. But am I sold on him 100%? No, probably about 60%.
Yeah. Let me jump in with the DeMeco Ryans because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, that's something that McDaniels is lacking is, you know what I'm saying, you seen as soon as he went over there that players were like, you know what I'm saying, like real good players. They're all running, trying to go to hang out with DeMeco Ryans, and I don't think McDaniels really has that pull. Like, yeah, we got Jacoby Myers or whatever, but is that someone that's really running over here? Oh my gosh, McDaniels is the coach over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, those guys look like they're excited to play for that guy. And I don't think players are excited to play for McDaniels or to come over to play for McDaniels.
To me, it just depends, right? Because it's like, I think McDaniels is a good, I think he's a good leader. And I think that the Raiders also, you see a lot of players that are like maybe not so happy to play for him because those are the cancers, I feel like. Like Darren Waller, like I don't know if you heard Mick Lombardi, or I think it was Mick Lombardi. It was I think so. It was one of the Lombardis. Who's our
Michael Lombardi.
Yeah, Michael Lombardi. Yeah. Michael Lombardi. And You know, like that shit he said about Darren Waller, man, during the bye week. Instead of going to rehab his injury, he's like, fuck you guys, find me. Like, is that the type of shit you want in the locker room? Because I don't think, that's your job, man. Like, you get paid millions of dollars. If you're hurt and you have a job to go help your team and be there for your team, you should be there rehabbing your injury, trying to get better and back on the field. Don't send the coach a message basically saying, fuck you, find me.
Right.
Like, to me, it's just like, and that's Josh McDaniels don't put up with that shit, bro. And that's why he got the last laugh. He said, all right, motherfucker, I know you live here in Vegas and your wife plays for the Vegas Aces, but guess what, motherfucker? Now you play for the New York Giants and you're going to go enjoy this honeymoon by yourself.
Right.
And he started laughing. He got the last laugh.
What's your thoughts?
So I'm going to give. I'm going to understand the assignment. I have to go 1 to 10. So I'm going to say about a 7. And here's why, for a lot of reasons that were some of the reasons that were brought up by Kay, having coming into a situation with players that are not yours. You piece together a defense that in a lot of games figured out we're shutting down, we're virtually shutting teams out in first halves. Unfortunately, he had a quarterback that was one of the worst quarterbacks in the third quarter, and almost the fourth quarter. So you didn't have a real second half offense that would really put, or second half offensive players that were really trying to put their foot on offensive necks, on defense's necks. Also, this offense did underachieve, especially when we're looking back at the tape and we're looking at a lot of missed opportunities that were touchdowns, that were big plays. That if those are converted, if a lot of those are converted, we're having even a more different discussion about Josh McDaniels. And so let's go back to what Kate was talking about, where you have a tight end, your premier tight end, who is not all in. You had your quarterback who wasn't all in at a certain point. And then you only had certain guys that were all in. And so, asking a coach to just take, I believe they only had about 23 guys signed, maybe at the time, when he's walking in, and piece together everything else, and for the offense to underachieve, even though we saw on tape what was missed and what could have been. I think that Josh, I think that we don't understand that for once we have a guy that understands exactly how he wants to get it done and what it takes to get it done, from him to Ziegler, the front office. Yes, they are working hand in hand, because if you want me to cook the food, let me help you pick the groceries. Let me go with you to the grocery store. Okay. Right. That's only fair. And so, but I still want to kind of give it an incomplete grade, because this is going to be the first year where they having their guys coming in that they're picking, they're drafting, and they're bringing in from free agency that they want to see be a part of this team for the foreseeable future. So let's see what McDaniels puts on the grill, before we say he can't cook.
Right on. All right. Q, what's your thoughts?
Man, I'll give him a 6 for the clock management shit. And I have to say the clock management and having Carr in there for the year.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna trust the process and see what he does. Like Tone said, this is like their first year to actually draft. They got a first, second round pick this year. So let's see what they can do. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the process go.
Right on. All right,
here's
fellas.
the biggest Q. I gotta think real fast. Here's the thing, Q, with that is like let's say the Raiders bench Derek though, right? And they bring in Stidham, right? and then they still only win 6 games, right? But they're still charging $300 a ticket. Fans are going to be pissed off because they're going to be like, you're paying this motherfucker $40 million to sit the bench, and I'm still having to pay these $300 tickets to watch the backup quarterback, and we only won 6 games. So that's like, that also comes with like a fear of like that the organization doesn't want to deal with. So I feel like that played a part in why Derek stayed in the way that he did, because you're paying him, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's a lot more to it. I feel like
you're paying him, but you're also letting him, hang himself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're paying him, So and you're letting all the excuses, all the excuses play out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now
he needs that. Yeah.
He needs this. He needs that. He got paid. He got still even with all that, people still say that he got treated wrong.
Right. After he got a raise, an extension, brought in
the receiver,
two extensions.
Hey, he got to. You know what though? That motherfucker got to choose his situation this year. Out of the 4 or 5 teams that were interested in him, I don't want to hear shit. They better win that division. If they don't, that just proves everything we were talking about. And he should win that division. That division is sorry.
Right. No, seriously, you can't be in a division with Pat Mahomes and fucking Herbert trying to fucking back
and go to Desmond Ridder, Kyle Trask, and Andy Dalton at this point,
right?
Yeah. I know some people don't like the player, but I think he really did fall into a really good situation. He has a whole lot of good pieces around him. He has a really good defense around him. You know what I'm saying? He's going to a weaker division, like you guys all said. So
But here's the kicker, though. Here's the kicker. Nobody's thinking about with the Saints. They don't have enough salary cap to fucking sign their fucking draft.
And then Kamara's going to miss some games. And from what the brass talked about, their receiving core is getting old.
Well, they just signed
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams, who had over 1,000 yards last year. So I think their running back position is fine. But they also have Chris Olave, who's a stud, man. And Juwan Johnson, their tight end, I don't think he had too bad of a year last year. I'm not worried about the Saints offense. That's going to just depend on if Derek does his thing or not.
What thing is that?
Huh?
What thing is that? If you ask Tyrann Mathieu,
I'm just saying it's really on him if where they go, because I mean they do have talent there.
Oh no. Hey, Alex, I agree with you. They kick the can down the road all the time. But at some point, you have to pay the fucking piper. You have to. Don't be surprised next year they blow the fuck out of this team, and guess who they're gonna fucking end up blaming for it? You know what I mean? Tell the truth.
Well,
the
Saints. Here's my thing. Actually, this is a good topic to bring up real quick, and it might be a topic we can spend all night on, so we don't have to talk about it all night. But salary cap to me is a myth in a lot of ways.
It is if you have deep enough pockets as an owner.
Because the Chiefs literally just got rid of Orlando Brown, said, okay, go run along. Then they went out and signed Jawan Taylor, who was in Jacksonville, and paid him 4 years, $80 million. Does anybody want to take a guess what their cap hit is for this season?
What's that?
$1 million.
Okay. Yeah, but
it's because the Chiefs, the team, so this is what I've started to realize. The teams with bad salary cap issues are usually the good teams, and they figure out their salary cap when they need it to go, when they want to go after a certain player that they like, and they'll figure it out. Because you see the Eagles with Slay, for instance. The Eagles don't got that much salary cap. In fact, they got the most dead money I've ever seen in my life. It's like $65 million.
Damn.
They got more than the Saints.
Yeah.
Dead money wise.
Who thought the Niners had all that money to get Hargrave?
They didn't. They literally made it work with their salary cap. They were like bottom They were like between 20 and 30 in the league.
No.
for salary cap.
Tell the truth. They got Trey Lance and Brock Purdy as their fucking quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying they're I'm talking salary cap though. I'm saying, and they were between 20th and 30th for salary cap. If everyone thinks that salary cap means something, then in those terms, the Niners shouldn't have been able to get Hargrave if salary cap.
It does. But there's just a lot of ways you can manipulate it. It's just so many ways you can manipulate it. Yeah, to where it worked out for you because at the end of the day, you know, it's still math, right? So at one point or other, it's going to, you know, it's going to flip.
My thing is this:
it's going to flip on them unless they keep on making moves. But they've been fortunate. 49ers has been fortunate to not have to really pay quarterbacks a whole lot of money.
Well, my thing is this: just get rid of salary cap if there's freaking a million ways you can fucking manipulate that shit. Get rid of it and go to baseball's format, and let's see who's the richest owner. Big bank take little bank.
Hey, you know about that, Yankees. You know about that.
Yeah, because the Dodgers are taking.
You know that don't always work. You know that don't always work. Dodgers. Y'all spend some bank and don't get what y'all want to return a lot all the time.
Hold on. Signing bonuses and workout bonuses are all prorated on the cap. Okay, you don't get to get away from the salary cap because of the signing bonus. It doesn't work like that. What you can do is you can spread the hit out. Say it's a 4-year contract, right? You can spread it out for 4 years. That's how that works. Okay.
Well,
it's an actual thing, but it's not an actual thing. If you understand what I'm saying.
Actually,
at some point or the other, you have to account for the money.
I think they should just get rid of salary cap and go to baseball, like how baseball does it. They have
you definitely have some Padres. You have a lot of Padres. You have a lot of.
That's what happens when you got money and you're in a nice location, bro. You can't hate it.
Well, actually, no. I would say the Padres. They should. If you're in, if you actually.
Hey, bro.
Down there, you should have some money.
Twice a week, dog.
They got a luxury.
San Diego's mad nice, bro. Man,
that's pretty nice. But you know but to see the issue is you know the owners are not going to start to guarantee large amounts of money in a sport that's as violent as it is, and you're on the hook for $300 million for a guy that's hardly playing.
Right. All right, fellas.
I mean, they don't even want to give Lamar Jackson.
I'll just say this, bro. You want to get good players like in baseball. You got a luxury tax. The luxury tax is set at a certain amount. If your payroll goes over that amount, you pay that fat ass luxury tax.
You want to know what's more laughable than a salary cap is luxury tax, because the Warriors don't give a fuck about luxury tax.
Neither do the Dodgers, neither do the Yankees, neither do the.
No, they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
Money.
You probably can write that off.
Say, I need to file my taxes this year. LeBron, write you off.
All right, guys. Hey, we've been on for 1 hour and 29 minutes. I know Dirty Show is about to come up real soon. We don't
NWA way. And if y'all don't know, pull up.
So we gonna get off before the 1 hour and 30, but peace and love, everybody. Come back next week.
Rich is trying to get rid of us, bro.
Nah, bro. Hey, all right.
I guess.
Go Blue.